Hello, welcome to Search with Sean. Now this is a slightly different one, again, a different type of video, following on from the all about video about structured data and schema, which you'll find the link in the description, and also I will put it somewhere, it'll pop up somewhere very soon. And yeah, I just want to do this really quick video. I changed so it's a bit bigger there, just around examples of schema. So I've looked around some of the market leaders, top websites out there to see how they're using schema, and perhaps we can show some like good examples and some things perhaps they could improve. So I thought it'd be worth going over and doing this type of video to show that. So first of all, we'll just go over again, recap what schema is. So just we kind of good way to start going forward. So schema markup, sometimes referred to as structured data, is code you add to web pages to help search engines better understand your content. This helps them display your content in a rich format. So we're clear on that. And the point of the video, like I say, is just to really find how people are using schema, especially those websites that are performing quite well. And I've only just highlighted a few different things I found that are quite interesting, but obviously if you dig deeper, you'll probably find other things, and you may disagree with me. And if you do, then please put your comments on the video. And also it must be said that I've not targeted any particular websites, just ones that are leaders in the industry. So there's nothing I've not done it for any real reason apart from that. And also, just when talking about schema, I think it's very important to stress that unless you're really confident from a technical standpoint, that you should always reach out to your dev team or your dev person to help implement this type of code, because you don't want to mess things up. And also you've got to be very clever about how you target which pages you want to add schema to, because at the end of the day it is a timely process. And you're gonna, unless you got, depends how big your website is, but if you've got a reasonably big website, you can't really add schema to all your pages. So target which one's most important in terms of content, and target those first and see how you get on, because the more detailed you can make them, the more they're going to perform. So it's worth putting your time and effort into the ones that are really going to boost whatever you're trying to do, whether that's conversions or visibility or, getting your brand out there or certain products and so on. And and also, as we mentioned in the last video, sometimes they need updating, for example, events or whatever. So, bear that in mind going forward. So we'll just crack on. Like I said, I tried to pick industry leaders and just spotted a few things that I thought was worth pointing out, but I do urge you to explore yourself. I've put all the links to the ones I looked at in the description, along with some other information about structured data and schema you might find interesting. So looking at Healthline, so they include the medical webpage schema. The good thing is they've put general information about the page and who it's reviewed by with an image. However, should probably be within a person type, because if you put things under the wrong schema type, it can confuse the search engines just as much as not having it at all. So do bear that in mind. Another interesting thing is they have the correction type, and just to explain that, it's used to indicate any corrections or updates made to the content of the web page. This includes factual corrections, updates to information, or clarifications. It helps provide transparency and accuracy, ensuring that readers are aware of any changes or corrections that have been made to the original content. That's really good, especially for health content, because you want them to know the most up-to-date information. And as we know with what's going on with search, is transparency of changes, making sure they're aware of when they were updating stuff. It's going to be really important. So really recommend doing that. What they could improve, include author, article section instead of uncategorized to something like health. So, be a bit more specific about the author and what subject area they're covering. So we look at BBC Good Food. Again, I've not, picked the recipe for any particular reason. So yeah, obviously it uses recipe schema, which is no real surprise. The good thing, it includes nutritional information and how-to steps. So obviously that's really important on a recipe. What it could improve is, the person type they've included, which isn't really needed. And authors should be embedded into the recipe schema itself. So that's some examples there. Like I say, you've got to be careful putting the wrong one or using the wrong type of schema. It's not going to be the end of the world, but it's not really going to help anything. So, why waste your time and effort doing it if it's not going to be, the right type of schema? So, just carefully analyze these things. So we're looking at this one now. Britannica, obviously a very kind of broad website, but we're looking more at video here. So I thought this was a good example. And obviously they use video schema here. And like I say, it's a good example because they use things like video dimensions, the length of the video. They include the full transcript, which is really great. A thumbnail, image, and upload date. So very, specific information about the video, and that's really going to help it get picked up by the search engines. And in context, this is why I didn't know really myself, because when I looked deeper into the schema, you'll see under the duration there, it says PT3M, and you can probably guess, but it represents duration of 3 minutes. And just to break that down of the format, so P stands for period and is the starting character indicating that this is duration. T separates the date portion from the time portion, though there's no date portion here, so that doesn't really, so that's what it would be anyway. And 3M indicates 3 minutes, which makes sense. So yeah, just thought that was a good example. And like I say, I'd love to hear your thoughts and all this, what you've experienced with schema, any good examples you've come across or you've implemented yourself and seen it works really well. In my time, I've implemented a few and I've seen, some good results. So yeah, it would be interesting to see. And if you dig into these and if you find any further interesting findings, I'd love to know as well. So moving on into e-commerce. And here, as we all know, quite a big store is Walmart. And yeah, it's a Lego flower bouquet. So not sure how I stumbled on this one, but I didn't buy it. So, I don't know how I came across it, but anyway, it's really interesting in terms of how they laid out their schema here. Obviously, they use product schema, which you'd expect, and they include like the things like the description, the SKU, which is like the product code and image, and it also includes multiple review schemas, which is obviously really, really important for products and e-commerce. So that's really going to be helpful when search engines pick that up. What they could improve is the main collection pages. They don't seem to have any schema markup on those, and obviously it could use web page and collection page schema markup, so it's all kind of intertangled in together. So you can have the collection pages are fully marked up and the products itself are fully marked up, and that would probably be much more powerful than just the products. But like I say, it's time consuming, and Walmart have tons and tons of different product lines, so I understand it's very time consuming. You go onto blog, and it wouldn't be one of my search with Sean videos without having a Lily Ray included in that. So this is from a company that she works for, Amsive, and it's pretty much all good, as you expect with Lily Ray. And obviously it's an article. It's got article schema in there, person schema, and site navigation schema. And just on the site navigation one, so this schema is used to mark up a section of a website that provides navigation links. This is typically applied to elements like a website main navigation menu, which is consistent across the site and helps users navigate to different sections or pages. So this is just one I don't see that often, and I thought it was quite interesting to pick up on, because we all talk about the importance of internal linking, but if you can highlight this to the crawlers as well in schema, then that might even enhance it even further. So yeah, I thought that was quite an interesting one to pick up on there. And I'll put information to all these type of schemas that I've mentioned in this video in the description, so you can read up more on it. Obviously they're all on schema.org as well if you ever want to browse, and I'll put a link in the description to that as well. So the next one is news, and obviously BBC, one of the biggest news networks in the world, and this includes reportage news article. This is a type of news article schema used to represent articles that report on news events. It's specifically used to mark up articles that provide a factual account of newsworthy events, often including on-the-ground reporting, interviews, and detailed descriptions. They also include image, so that's good practice. What they could improve is the person, author part of schema, to include more information about that author. So things like their job title, image of them, contact information, gender, and so on. Obviously, BBC use a whole range of different authors and journalists, so it could be a good way of getting those more visibility to those different authors and journalists that they have, and giving them a bit more information on those, especially as we know the way that Google are going around that. And last but not least is Ticketmaster, obviously one of the biggest for sports tickets and music tickets and so on. So this was a really interesting one. This is for Anthony Joshua fight, and it's good. It has got all the right intentions, but could be better optimized. Obviously it's a sports event, but they've got the location there. They could put more detail about the actual location. If it's Wembley Stadium, put the full address and so on. Performer includes a performer property, but they're under like sports team, which is like kind of a weird way of doing it. So obviously they could put more of a kind of performer based schema and have about the boxers and stuff, and more about the organizer. So obviously if it's matchroom boxing, whoever it is, instead of sports team, again, they've used that schema type quite often. And then obviously they got offers as well, which is fine, but they could put a lot more information about the tickets, pricing and so on. So, obviously I know, again, they have so many events, it's quite time consuming, but if they want particular events to show up, they could put a bit more effort and, information on those particular events. So yeah, anyway, I know it's a really quick whistle stop tour of, the different types and some examples there. Hopefully you found it relatively interesting, and you could dig deeper into those schemas, and it might give you some inspiration to add to your pages and look further into other types of schemas. Obviously every page is unique, so they different schemas with different types of content, obviously, and some are obviously broad across the site, like breadcrumbs and so on. But yeah, I'm happy to do more videos like this if you enjoyed it, so please give it a like and comments and stuff. And obviously you've got all the other types of videos I'm sharing, like the interviews and the SEO and AI news, and obviously I'll do more how to all about videos kind of thing as well. So yeah, hopefully you enjoyed it. like I say, I've got loads of other things coming up, so please subscribe as well. And that really helps support the channel grow and all those kind of things. So yeah, thank you for watching, and speak soon.